Hello and welcome to NCASS Live, the second webinar in our series looking to support NCASS members and the wider industry through this COVID crisis. The first talk that we had, sorry, I'm Mark, I work for NCASS. The first one that we did was kind of recapping what happened and where that kind of left us, and it was quite serious, I guess, and very much sort of NCASS talking about what we were doing, but now it's time to talk to you guys, talk to the members, and to get the lowdown on how the last month has gone for you and where that leaves you and where you think that might take you in the future. We've got a couple of customers who are going to be our members better than customers, I think, who are going to be joining us very shortly, and we're going to go through their experiences. But I've got a couple of updates that I'd like to give you first of all. Regarding the progress that we hope that we're making. We are, many of you are working at or looking to do street trading or to operate as takeaways and as delivery services. We believe that we're making strong progress on that, and we're hoping for some updates in the coming week that will hopefully make it clearer who is able to trade and what would be required of them in order to do so. And we firmly believe that this will be a great opportunity to keep NCASS members and the wider mobile catering industry and the street food industry and the festival caterers and the function caterers, give them an opportunity to continue to earn a living as we move through this difficult period. On top of that, we've been in contact with the NHS about how we can help them to feed staff and other key workers, and that is progressing very nicely. We were added to the NHS or the government COVID procurement list yesterday, so we are now available for NHS jobs, and NCASS members are now available for NHS jobs if and when required. So we're going to be sending out some more details on that in the next few days. In terms of that, if that is something that you'd like to get involved in, we're going to send out a text message asking you to confirm your interest. And if you do that, we'd ask you to get all of your documents on the system, because if you're working for the NHS, especially during this crisis, it's all about compliance and it's all about safety. So only those that can demonstrate compliance and safety will be sent for the jobs, or those who can prove that first will be first in line for those jobs. So keep your eyes peeled for them. That'll come via a text message and possibly an email as well. You'll need to go through the new COVID advice. I hope you all got a copy of that or got a link to that yesterday. You may not have had a chance to read it yet. Don't worry about that. But we would expect you to have read through that and to have understood it and worked out how that will apply to your business, or how you can use that to work safely under COVID conditions. So have a look at your paperwork, have a look at your NCASS profile, make sure you've got all your documents on there. The key things really are obviously insurance, risk assessments, training, hygiene score is absolutely vital. So if you can get that off the FHRS website, that'll be absolutely wonderful. And for extra bonus points, if you have previous inspection reports that you can put on there, because what we're going to do is any NHS job that we do get sent, we're going to send details of all of the traders beforehand to the local environmental health and the local licensing office, so that they are able to ensure that they are happy with you trading there. And then once they get that confirmation, then you'll get sent out. So having all your paperwork in place is going to be essential for us. As some of you will know, we are working at home, and also we have some really, really valuable, wonderful staff who are currently furloughed. So we're working on reduced capacity. So any help that you can give to us to help make it easier for us to get you work, that will help you get your work, basically. Any questions, obviously, speak to your account manager, email us, drop us a line on social media. But the onus really is on NCASS members to be able to prove that they're safe, prove their due diligence, prove they've got everything in place they need to have, and then we can hopefully help you get out there and work. In addition to that, we are still in discussions with the local government association about how best to communicate with local authorities to try and enable them to give you the opportunity to trade. So that could be in a local car park, on industrial land, as long as you have permission from the landowner. then we are working towards you getting permission from the council to also trade from that space. So watch this space. We're going to have more details for you on that in the next week. There are no promises on any of this stuff at the moment. It's all stuff that's in progress, and we're working towards goals, and we're hoping to get there very shortly for you. Many of you will still be reeling from the impact or the impact of not being included in the hospitality grants as they were awarded by the Chancellor a few weeks ago. I spoke to our contacts at the Department of Business this morning, and they have reassured me that work is still ongoing on that, still ongoing on the self-employed issues, still ongoing on the grants. So do not give up hope yet. We're still in the game for that. The Department of Business fully understands the situation that our industry and our sector specifically is in, and how we have unfortunately fallen through a few gaps when we've been offered help. So they are aware that there is a problem. They are working to help us, and we are working to provide them with the information that will make it easier for them to help us. So if you haven't filled in the surveys yet, please do fill in the surveys. If you have a case study or a specific concern, drop it into your account manager by email. We will get back to you. We will discuss it with you. And it may be that case study or that bit of information is crucial in getting all of you guys the level of support that you need to get through this. There are a few other ongoing things with regards to, we've had a lot of queries about people that were expecting grants but haven't received them. I was told today that part of that problem is actually just an administrative one, and they are working to overcome it. It's being done at local authority level, and the phrase said to me was business rate systems are usually used to receiving information, not giving it out. And so things like customer bank details to actually pay the money into your bank account hasn't necessarily been available. So while they thought it would be a very nice, easy, smooth way of getting everybody cash, they've had a few hitches, but they are still working on that. And people that are expecting grants and have been told they're getting grants will get grants. It's just a matter of time now, so do hold tight. And those of you who believe that you were getting grants that have been told otherwise by your local authority, please do keep us in the loop on that. Please tell us why, what's happened, that kind of thing. I've been told that once the initial problem with the grants, i.e. getting the people that they know they need to give money to them, then they will look again at the people that thought they were getting grants but haven't. So I think everything is still to play for. Please don't lose faith. We're working really hard throughout NCASS, and we've had loads of support from customers offering to help and to get involved, event organisers, street food traders, festival caterers. Everyone wants to be a part of resolving this problem and building a better future for our industry. So please do get involved. Please do stay positive, and we are working on it. And hopefully, as you go into this weekend, you can be a little bit more calm that there's going to be some solutions for you out there. Nobody wants good businesses to fail. No one wants you guys to have to let go staff and things like that. Other final couple of points before we get on to the real meaty bits of chatting to members is furloughing. We would expect the furloughing arrangements to be extended because we are now expecting, I think we've been told that it's at least another 3 weeks before we're going to get let out. Some advice we were given very early on was look at comparatives, look at other countries and see how they're getting on. So I think Wuhan was essentially in lockdown for 11 weeks. Germany is, and a few other European countries are starting to allow people out on a very limited level. And I think that's what we're kind of looking at here. So you're looking at least 3 weeks of lockdown, possibly more weeks of lockdown, and then a phased reintroduction to normal life. But the assurances given to us by government so far have been that furloughing will continue, and that they are looking to work with industry to understand how best to reopen the economy up, because they don't want a false start. So I think that for those of you that are worried that the existing government support that they're receiving might abruptly end, I don't think you need to worry about that at all. That support will be there to get us all through this, because the name of the game is saving the economy. Well, the name of the game is keeping the people safe, and then after that, it's saving the economy. And so I don't think that there are any intentions to get us through this and then just let everyone fall off a cliff. So I understand that people out there are going to be really concerned about things, but we are making progress. The government does care about the mobile catering industry. They are working with us and for us to get us through this. They do care about small independent catering businesses, and NCASS members are in a really good place, considering what's going on around us. So I've said enough. I'm going to get us through speaking to all of our lovely caterers now. So Zoe, you out there? Can you chuck them all on the screen for me? Zoe's our producer. Can we get Zoe on the screen as well? And there she is. Hi, Zoe.
Hi.
She's the one that's making this all work and potentially telling me to shut up when necessary. So I'm going to work my way around as I can see it. So you may all see this differently, I don't know. But we're going to start off with the lovely Sarah from Full of Chat, and hopefully she will be full of chat today. And Sarah, how's
hello.
How's the month been for you? Talk us through your last month. Give us a history of the pain and the trauma and maybe some bits of joy. Who knows?
Oh God. Well, like everyone, seeing your diary go from full to cancel is devastating, to say the least. So I moped about for about 2 weeks, and then looked at Deliveroo, Just Eat, just to try and back out there and still tick over. Then I got a bit unwell with a cold, so I had to stay at home for a while. And luckily I did, because they stopped doing the Deliveroo and the Just Eat. We weren't actually allowed to join and do it. So then we looked at doing deliveries ourselves, just once a week, to try and help out, people that couldn't get out, elderly, families that are just sick of cooking 3 meals a day for all of their children. So yeah, did that once a week, and now we're doing meals for the NHS, which is through a charity, and that's just been a lifeline, really. Like you can do 2 orders a day for different trusts. So now we're busier than we would have been in the summer, I think.
Have you had to change how you operate and what you do to sort of fit those new contracts?
Completely, absolutely, completely. So it's been a learning curve, to say the least, because the business model is completely different, and you're churning out. It's all about the batch cooking, and obviously the cost is very different to what you're going to be selling street food for. So keeping your costs down, trying to source, and I mean, they say that you can't get food, you can get food, but we're struggling to get enough stock to cook en masse and then be able to get it out cheaply enough. So yeah, it's good. I mean, it's been a bit of a roller coaster, but we're getting there, and yeah, and helping as well, hopefully.
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, it's feeling helpless when you've got no work, your money's not in, and there's a big crisis going on, and people need food, and then you just think, well, that's what I do. Why can't I? Why can't I be providing that food? I mean, yeah. Have you with the stock? Is that because you buy sort of specialist stock, or is it just anywhere you go, you're struggling to get what you need?
A bit of both, really. All of our chicken that we do is halal, and we want to stick to that. So yeah, I mean, Bookers, bless them, they're brilliant, but they've just never got enough. Especially,
they might be watching. Just in case they're watching, just say what they don't have enough of, and you might see it there next week.
Chicken thighs, please. No. No, they're great, but Yeah, well, because everyone else is buying them as well. So, you know, I go in and I can see the other traders like eyeing them up. Like, save me a pack. But if you're doing like 300 meals for the NHS, that's a lot of chicken.
Yeah. I've lost you.
So, oh,
Oh.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that what in terms of the journey that you've been on the last couple of weeks, it's been quite a roller coaster. I mean, what advice would you give to other people that are looking to stay in the game, or maybe fearing that things aren't going to go their way?
I think at the moment the NHS is struggling so much. I mean, I'm speaking to the nurses when I drop food off, and they're struggling with getting food themselves when they're on shift or going home and not being, you know, able to then go shopping, cook meals. They haven't got enough time in the day, basically. So I think helping and looking at that sort of market, scaling down costs and cooking just a few dishes. Menus been scaled right back, and look at batch cooking for a cheaper cost, really, and then doing it that way. I mean, you're not going to make millions, but it'll keep us going.
No one's in street food to make millions, surely. Lee, tell us about. Thank you, Sarah. Lee, tell us about your journey, mate. How's the last month been for you? Well, how bad's it been?
Yeah, quite. Not bad. No, I mean, a little bit like Sarah. I got to the 19th of March, so just before I think the lockdown was the 22nd, 23rd. 19th of March was when I decided to actually stop doing the street.
Oh, we've got a sound problem.
If it was with the general public, how safe it was with the public being around. And a little bit different to maybe some of the other guys is my partner's got her own business again, which is in the food industry, but from the supply chain side, with supplying meat and that into the catering industry, pubs, restaurants, that sort of thing. So I had to look at me being out and about was actually going to create more of a risk to her business and her staff, where she's through the takeaway route, but again thought there was just too much risk with the moving around and interacting with people, no matter how safe we tried to make it. And then on the other side of her business, her catering side had completely died a death. Obviously, once the pubs and restaurants are all shut, but she has a number of outlets for retail, essential food, fresh meat, milk.
So have you been able to do any of the grocery?
Officially, so we were busy. Obviously, I technically mothballed my business for the foreseeable future, and then obviously when the meals for the NHS come up through
Oh, I might just come back to you. I think I've lost your sound there, mate. Is that all right? So, Matt, are you?
I'm here.
There we go. So tell us about the last couple of, because I remember seeing you guys probably just November, December time. We went down to Stick with
Yeah.
a little video with you.
Yeah, I did. That was the last time.
Yeah, and then I speak to you 2 months later and everything's yeah. How's your journey?
Much like Lee and Sarah, we sort of stopped around about, I was just looking at the calendar now. The last event that we did public was the 13th of March, but prior to that, we had a couple of cancellations. So yeah, we had a feeling that things were going to fall over, but we didn't know how badly. After the 13th, that was it. Everything that was booked for the next sort of 2 to 3 months was cancelled. Or postponed, or we were told that it would be sort of brought back later on in the year, but they weren't sure how that was going to happen. So that left sort of 4 weeks or sort of 3 weeks. We were sitting on our hands. We sort of thought about doing the delivery delivery thing, but I mean, for some businesses, I think it was easier to pivot into that world. For us, we were still trying to get our head around trying to sort of hold the business together from a live event when we came back. So we weren't sort of thinking about the delivery model at all. Then we thought, we'll have a look at what everybody else was doing, and we'll see whether that works for us. Deliveroo, Uber Eats fall out of our catchment, so that wasn't going to work. Just Eats was probably where we were sort of thinking, and then the cost gets involved. And then when you look deeper into the delivery model, there's a whole lot of changes that you really need to think about for your business. And I think when you really deeply look into it, unless your business is built around that sort of model, there are vast changes that you need to make. And did we have the money to do that? That was our one biggest issue. Cash flow was a major problem. So there was new packaging, new menus, what's going to travel well. Do we know the ins and outs of the delivery system? If one of our menu items is moving 1.5 to 2 miles, how is it going to travel? Is this going to have a detrimental effect on, the brand when we come back into it? Because we've got a whole lot of bad reviews on our food because our food was served cold or something like that. There was a whole lot of scare. We were literally a little bit scared about doing the delivery. So we opened it up to friends and vulnerable people in our local community, and that worked quite well. It was very cheap. It was what was on offer. And then a couple of our friends told us about providing some food and some portions of food on a daily basis to the Royal Derbyshire Hospital, which was a godsend. We did 10 days of it. We only finished that on Sunday last week. That was hard. It was 200 portions a day for 10 days straight. The hardest thing, I think, doing that sort of work was more trying to balance the processes. So we're homeschooling a 5-year-old. We can't put her in childcare. You can't hire staff, or you don't want to bring staff into it because you don't want to make them a target on the front line as such. What happens if you do get sick? So let's put some processes together to try and keep the social distancing. We're moving into the front line as well, so we're going into actual hospital environment. Food procurement is really difficult. So what Sarah is talking about, I completely understand, but from our product is predominantly an international product, so a lot of our stock comes from Africa and India. The prices have gone through the roof. Although the other side of things is sourcing the particular spices and products that we need. We had a fair bit because we were coming into summer, so we do bulk buy. But fresh veg is really, really tricky. So what we did was we rang around our local supply chain, retail and wholesale, and tried to spread the load. So we spoke to all the managers, told them what we were doing, used that word emergency, and wrangled our way through it really, and was able to met some really nice people, some really nice management that helped us along the way. Buy bulk, because 200 serves or 2,000 meals over 10 days is a lot of food. So you have to buy in bulk, and you are jostling your way amongst retail customers, even though you look like a retail customer, but you're buying wholesale, so you get into.
Were you getting any problems with that, sort of walking out the supermarket with trolleys and trolleys of rice?
If I could say that whole side of things where people, and I completely understand what somebody thinks is essential and what somebody thinks is not, and what you're doing in your trolley and what someone else is doing in their trolley is become everybody's business, and that's quite unusual. And we're all feeling it. Doesn't matter whether you're buying for a business or you're buying personally, so we're all seeing it. But yeah, there were some times where it believes that you're trying to push this big old, beast up a hill that you're never going to get there. So it does grate on your nerves after a little while, but the good things that you get out of it, I think, you're not making a hell of a lot of money. You're keeping yourself above water, but underneath the water, you're oh God, you're swimming so hard. But you're seeing the difference you make. Most of the guys that we were meeting on the front line, we made friends, Ollie and Suki from the Royal Derbyshire Hospital. What they have to deal with on a daily basis is phenomenal. They're on 12, 13 days straight of 15-hour shifts. I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty, but it's not pretty. And we were in the mental health ward, which is a separate section of the hospital, a secure section of the hospital. So they're dealing with a different caliber of patient with different needs, and their needs are they want a hot meal. They want to break away from it. They want to get out of there, just come out to the car park and stand with us. And we became that gossip corner, which is normal. People come to Goody Gujarati for a chat, and we like that. We were able to let them break out. So from a community side of things, from a social benefit, as entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurs ourselves, we felt really that we were making a difference on another side of things, not just for our business, but also for the long-term good of the community. And that made us feel very proud. And I'm still very proud of what we did for that 10 days.
I think that's it gives us the chance as an industry to step up and contribute, and I think that is something that I'm very proud of, and I'm very proud of the fact that you guys are out there doing that and representing mobile catering and representing NCASS and in your case representing street food. I think it's a blessing really that at least there is somewhere we can take our businesses after the trauma of the last week. Now, I cut Lee off a bit earlier because we were having some sound problems, but I'm going to take this next question to you, Lee, if that's all right. It might be a tricky one. I don't know if there's a right answer to it, but I've had a few conversations with people recently, and do you think that this is going to be a reset, or do you think that we're going to go back to the way things were, or do you think that this is going to be a complete change to our society and how, when things move forward? What's the feeling that you're getting so far?
I think it's going to be a slow comeback into it, and it's the biggest thing I was thinking about the other day is the public themselves. Is their confidence in coming back into maybe not so much the smaller street food events, but the larger scale events when there's big gatherings, as and when
Oh no, we've lost you again. Oh no. I'm going to pass that one to Sarah very quickly. Oh, you're back. Come on, Lee.
I'm back.
Go on.
Yeah, I'm just quickly saying we've had everything pretty much cancelled, bigger event wise, up until end of September now. So realistically, that's about the end of the season, and we're now looking realistically at the Christmas events for the slightly bigger stuff. But I say, I think it's going to be the public's how confident they're going to be in attending a larger scale event. So I think we might need to adapt and concentrate our efforts on the more smaller scale stuff, where I think there'll be a bit and people attending, and also the money as well. The money's going to be for an awful lot of people. Ticket money to get into some of these events now might not be at the top of people's game when we come out of this.
I think there's definitely some major risks for the events industry at the moment, and we've been working with them to try and support their asks of government, because they're in a very similar situation to us in that they make all of their money in a couple of months in the summer, and if they lose that opportunity, then they've got to wait another year again. And obviously this year we've got a situation where some of our guys paid a lot of money in pitch fees, and now they're going to be very concerned whether they're going to get those back. And if those festivals and events and shows go bust, then those pitch fees might be gone as well. So it's certainly a worrying time for for the outdoor events industry. Sarah, what are your thoughts on where this leaves us? Are we going to go back to, is it going to go back to Christmas 19, Christmas 19, or are we going to go to a whole new world?
Oh God, no, it's a massive worry, isn't it, for everyone, that actually people they'll be scared. And I think as traders, we will as well, because actually you're at the front of it, and anyone that comes to you, just the people are going to be scared. And I think we're going to have to look at ways of bringing things indoors, maybe for the winter, so we can still have bigger events, but not outside, and not be reliant on the weather. Because I do just think this whole summer will be a write-off. We everything's been cancelled for us up till August, and then we're going to be re-looking at it. We've sadly had some weddings that have had to be postponed, and it's just going to have a knock-on effect for the rest of the year, really.
Well, apparently there's going to be lots of divorce parties when this all ends.
Hopefully.
So, Matt, where do you think this leaves the industry moving forward?
To be honest, I'm optimistic. I think yes, I agree in terms of social distancing is going to have probably a effect in certain areas of the market, especially on big parties and music events. But I can't see it staying down on the ground for more than 12 to 18 months. And that's all dependent upon the sort of the economic sort of situation and the social impacts of that wider health problem, and when that's solved, if it's solved in the current, sort of next 2 years. I think that will have big impacts. But I do think the optimistic side of things is I think we've been given an opportunity to see our businesses in different lights. So what we could do with that business, with our product, we're being pushed to produce food so much cheaper in a different way. That we're putting it in different boxes and putting it on bikes, putting it on Vespas, putting it in cars, sending it to people. We're looking at recipes online. We're looking at different ways of branding our businesses to try and show people at home what we do. And I think that's a good thing. I think that can help us when the taps do turn back on. I think you'll be looking at your business slightly differently, and maybe there's some opportunities that you've now tested out live. And I think, I think from our point of view, I know that we have had some conversations with certain sporting events for turning things back on around about July. But it's still too early. There have been some conversations about it. I don't know whether that's going to happen. I don't think anybody does. I think we're just guessing. They've got to set these forecasts anyway for themselves. So they're talking out aloud and seeing what appetite there is for these. If it does turn back on, I think you're going to have to mobilize really fast, and you're going to have to be ready for it. That's going to be tricky again. I think we're going to all run into the same problems of once we mobilize, procurement of food is going to be really tricky. Supply chains are going to be hardest hit now. But I think specialty products such as ourselves are going to be hardest hit because of cost and just what we can get. But I'm optimistic. I am really optimistic. That's the type of fellow I am.
Cool. I mean, this is to kind of everyone here. I'll kind of go round you all, but if you just kind of think about this in relation to your business. I mean, you guys have all been working outside or taking food into hospitals. You've been talking to the public. You've been talking to your customers. How important is compliancy and safety and being able to demonstrate that and to show? We've had we had a customer down, I believe it was in Essex, who was running a burger van and got shut down. And someone told her, a policeman came up and told her that she wasn't safe. And there were other policemen in the queue buying food. And apparently they were socially distancing, and there were all kinds of things. Like, all of the right things were being done as far as we're aware. But that impression from that member of the public, that policeman, was that it wasn't safe. So, I mean, do we now need to really go further to demonstrate safety and compliance, to win back public confidence, and to get the confidence of the authorities, and in this case the police? Lee, let's hope your sound's working, mate. What do you reckon?
Give it a go. Yeah, I think we've got to act probably even above and beyond. You know, I downloaded your COVID pack yesterday, gone through that, so just to make sure we're all up to speed with that, which obviously were, and supplying into the hospitals. You know, we've got to be above what 1,000 doctors are going to see us. So we'll have PPE that's with us. You know, we anti-back the vehicles in and out when we get there, when we leave, when we get back. You know, we get changed when we come home. You know, we don't touch anything. We go and have a shower before we do anything else. You know, we're doing all of that, which is, you know, it's an inconvenience, but it's a necessity at this time, and it's what we have to do now to be able to continue at some sort of level.
Fantastic. Sarah, what do you reckon?
Yeah, well, like what Matt was saying earlier about, you know, looking in people's trolleys, and everyone has an opinion, and I think the same with the safety aspect. You know, you can never be too safe, not when you drop into the hospitals, or like Matt working at the hospital constantly. People are you're on show all the time. People are watching you, and I mean, thank God we've got anti-bac now. We can get our hands on it. I mean, my hands are red raw. But yeah, I mean, and then the PPE side as well. You know, it should wear a mask. There's so many different things, you know, that people are saying you should and shouldn't do. We've just read through our compliance pass. It's very good. And we're doing everything that is expected of us. But yeah, like Lee said, it's just about going above and beyond, really.
Excellent. Matt, how's that applying to your business?
Well, I think, I'm not sure whether you saw, we did a little video of our funny little service hatch that we had set up at the Derbyshire Hospital, which was really good because we worked with the estates and the maintenance team there, who had they sort of worked within their guidelines, their safety guidelines, and then we worked with the social distancing, so we kept the 2 meters apart, and it sort of worked all right. We had anti-bac on the table where you were ordering, which was good 4 meters away from the unit, and then where you came and collected the food, when you collected the food, you were still sort of 2 meters away from us, and we were able to reach outside the hatch and put the food down. Yeah, I mean, that was extreme, and I think that through the lockdown, if you are serving a hospital, you've got to work out something that works for you, so you can keep that social distancing between frontline staff if you're working with the hospital, and I think that's important. But yeah, I read through the risk assessment COVID-19 pack that was sent through, and yes, I do think there's going to be some changes made going forward with certain venues that we work with. And we've already discussed that in a meeting already about health and safety around what we do as third-party concessionaires at different sporting facilities. And yes, I do think there's going to be more stringent rules, but we're already pretty tight the way we operate. And I think that we should try to showcase to the public, and I think from a sense of trading safely, and I think that's only going to be strengthened as time goes on, especially when we go back live again.
Great. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that in terms of us going out, talking to the NHS, talking to government, the first thing that we say is safety comes first. And if our guys can't trade safely, or if there isn't safe conditions under which to trade, then we just can't send them. And it's kind of that kind of payoff, really. So people aren't going to let you through the door unless they know that you're taking safety seriously. And I think that as Sarah said, we really do need to, and Lisa, we need to go above and beyond just to demonstrate to people to allay their fears that it might not be safe.
And for our own safety as well.
Yeah.
We've all got families at home. I've got a 3-year-old, and it's always a worry if you're going and working essentially with frontline workers, that it's inevitable that it's going to be there, isn't it? So yeah, it's a worry for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I spoke to a caterer a couple of weeks ago and said, well, there might be this NHS stuff coming up. Are you up for it? And he said, I've got underlying health concerns and I'm over 50 and I've got a family. He's like, no chance, mate. And I was like, yeah, fully understand. Get yourself home and stay safe for a couple of months. So yeah, you do have to weigh up your options and your responsibilities, I guess, to yourself and your family and to those around you. Right, I think obviously we've run over. I hope you've had a really lovely time. It's been great having you on here. I'm going to go around all of you just to get a final thought, if that's all right. So Sarah, we're going to start with you. We start with you at the beginning, so we're going to start at the end with you. What are your final thoughts? Where do you think this is all going to go? And are you happy that that you're out there again trading? Is this a positive for you?
Yeah, I think to a certain extent, in order to survive, you're going to have to change. You're going to have to change business models and look at other ways of doing it, unless someone gets their hands on this money that we're meant to be getting, because otherwise it'll get very depressing, won't it? So I'm actually quite upbeat the past couple of weeks. Been really busy, and that's how we like it, and it is completely different to what we're used to, but hopefully if we can keep going like this, and it might even be a positive, in the winter, if these charities are still providing meals for the NHS and it is something that we can tap into all year round, then we won't be so reliant on the summer trade. If that doesn't, if this goes on for 18 months, 2 years, might even out a little bit. So feeling positive.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, that's one of the things that we've been discussing with the NHS. They've been saying, how long can you offer this service for? And we said, well, as long as there's a COVID problem, because until this problem's over, we're available. As soon as it's over, we're out there doing markets and events and weddings and all these other parties that people love and enjoy. But until then, we're basically mothballed unless you need us. So I think it's a very good point that if this does go on for next longer, 9 months, 12 months, having something like this in place now will definitely help. And Lee, what are your final thoughts? Considering the month that you've had, are you positive now, or are you fighting fit? You fighting back?
I don't know about fit, but yeah, I mean, really positive. I mean, with the NHS stuff, we are really busy. I think we've got about 300 odd meals going out this weekend and more booked in for next week during the week. So that's a real positive side of things. I think we need to support each other as well, even if it's just a matter of liking and sharing stuff we see on social media with each other. We're all in this together, and we all help each other along. Then we'll all come out the other side of this somewhere along the line, hopefully sooner rather than later. But I think there's certainly a lot of positiveness out there at the moment in our industry. There's a lot of bad bits, but all work together. You guys, helping along massively at the moment. I'm sure we can. We'll all pull together and hopefully put all this behind us, as soon as we can.
Brilliant. What are your final thoughts, mate?
Yes, maybe. We're looking at contacting hospitals directly now, because I know the bureaucracies can be quite big. They do need food. They know about us, but maybe don't know about it from directly. So door knocking, I don't think is a bad thing. LinkedIn.
With long arms.
Yeah, with long arms. I know. I know. Because the funny thing is, I'd say it live, but the trusts and the budgets, the way that they're managed, the money, is really convoluted. So it can be necessary knocking on that door and someone says, yes, I have a budget for food, and yes, I would like you to come, and could you pull together some mates, and what could you offer? I think there are still opportunities to get involved with it. So I don't think everything's been exhausted. So, and remember, it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's people needing food. And these are not just doctors, nurses, healthcare staff. This is housekeeping. This is estates management. This is, people that work within the hospital itself. So I think there's a great opportunity for us to play a role in that. We still haven't exhausted those doors, and we're still going to keep knocking on them. So I think there's some optimism amongst these next 3 months if you want to get amongst it. And I'm going to stay positive. I think within 3 or 4 months, things will the restrictions will ease up a little bit. We'll want to go out there and support. Yes, I agree with Lee. Community is the one biggest thing. We need to stay and yes, like and support each other socially is really important, because without togetherness right now, I think it's a really lonely game. And that's yeah. So if I could say, just stay positive. Yeah.
I would very quickly. When you say community, do you also? And it's kind of hello. When you say community, is it also your customers? Street food traders, have pretty strong bonds with a lot of their customers.
Yeah, well,
they struggling to get food.
I'm lucky. I'm part of a really big team, and I class it as a really big team. I don't class myself as just one sole trader out there. And there's a bunch of us, and we're all friends, and we all talk about our issues and talk openly. And I think that's important. When I talk about community, I talk about, sharing our wins, our losses, whether we can help each other. I know that's really important. And I think it's more important now. And I think people sort of maybe shying away from that. Don't do that. I think that's the thing. When chips are down, you got to talk about these things. So, and I think that's been a great help, being able to discuss that openly and honestly with my street food trader friends and community. Just to hear our pains, hear our problems, and usually we can solve it together. I think that's where the togetherness, that's where the community, that's what I'm talking about necessarily. Yeah.
And I think that's what this episode was kind of about, really, as well. It's kind of like, getting you guys to share your pain, and to get that ball rolling, and to keep everyone sharing their ideas and their concerns and their worries, and any advice to pull us all through this together. I'll just say very quickly about the NHS stuff. A lot of that is going to be centrally organised, and it's going to be centrally funded. So there is now going to be funding for NHS staff to be fed via the NHS. They will be arranging that through the trusts. The trusts will be arranged regionally. And so we are going to be creating willing caterer groups within NCASS. So for whatever region that you're in, if you're willing to trade, you'll get a message about that next week. We'll start fill in your details, maybe put some menu on, just fill in a brief questionnaire just so that people know what they're hiring. And yeah, so hopefully there'll be a pool of you guys available to NHS sites across the UK very soon, and hopefully they will make use of us, or continue to make use of us. Obviously, there's nothing promised yet. There's nothing guaranteed. We don't know what's going to come in. They are assessing the needs of the NHS staff over the weekend. So they are getting there. I think a lot of it's been a massively traumatic month for everyone, from individuals to businesses to government. And I think that government certainly are getting a handle on things now, and you don't expect it to take a bit of time to get over the many different shocks and work out what all of the different problems are and how to maybe fix them. So I think they're getting there now. I've been really delighted with the help that we've got off the NHS and Department of Business. It's so great to see NCASS members out there trading at hospitals, and the fact that you guys has enabled us to demonstrate this can be done to the NHS. So once again, it's NCASS members and NCASS admin, I guess, working together to build a new future, or to get us through this difficult period. Guys, just want to say thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for sharing your ideas.
Thank you, Mark.
It's been a pleasure. Lovely to meet all these youngsters as well, next generation students. And I'm not sure what the next webinar is. It's definitely next week. I don't think I'm on that one, which is probably a relief to a lot of people. But have a wonderful weekend. Keep your chins up and keep working hard, and hopefully there'll be more opportunities coming your way very soon. Thank you all, guys. Have a lovely.
Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Thanks very much.
We wouldn't be here without you.
Bless you.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Who's that man waving?